Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about one of my all-time favorite subjects, which is food. I love food. I would take food over training any day. And today I'm giving you an update. So especially during the quarantine, how I'm eating, because I get a lot of questions about this. I thought I'll do another video. I've done two before and I'm going to keep it to the same structure. I'm going to take you through what I eat when I wake up and when I go to bed. And of course, I still don't count macros and calories, so I have no idea how much macros and calories I'm consuming. And this is purely because I counted for years and it's from experience. So I eat how I feel on the day. Another thing is I'm 6'2" and 110 kilos. So if you're not 6'2" and 110 kilos, if you eat the way I do, you might not be, you might turn into a chunky monkey. So just be aware of that. I understand people want to get an idea of how I eat, but try not to copy it too much because again, everyone's different. And yeah, this is why I'm often hesitant about putting out what I eat, because I just feel like I don't want people to, I don't want you to feel like you have to eat the exact same way to look like I do, if that makes sense. So yeah, so we're going to delve straight into the video. Don't forget, if you enjoy this, leave a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. And don't forget to subscribe. So now we are going to start with the first thing I would have when I wake up. So we're going to start with what I have first thing in the morning, and that is usually about a liter of water. I drink about 4 liters of water minimum even a day, but that's not including when I train, and that's not including things like having tea, my shakes. So 4 liters minimum. And then I would have also my green shake, and this is beetroot powder, and I mix in some apple cider vinegar, and it makes an interesting looking shake which tastes absolutely vile, but health, you know, it's good for me. And of course, you guys know, if you've watched my other food videos, you know how much I'm obsessed with tea. So I drink at least probably about 4 or 5 cups of tea a day. Different types of tea: lemon and ginger, mint and fennel, turmeric. And I love these, the PhD protein flapjack. So I have one of these as well in the mornings. And that's pretty much what I have first things. And this will be before my first session. So before I train, I tend not to eat before I train, and this is pretty much what I'll have. It also does depend on the session, but 90% of the time I tend to not eat a heavy meal before I train, because I don't want it to come back up. Basically, that's why. So after training, I have what I consider my first meal, which is normally egg whites, about 6 egg whites. Normally I used to have 8 to 10. These are 400 grams, so this lasts me 2 days. It's just to reduce waste. Before, I used to do the whole, you know, egg, cracking the yolk and stuff like that, so throwing away the yolk. So now I just stick to egg whites. It's just because I like to keep my fats low. That's one thing I need to mention. So the way I like to structure my diet is a slightly lower fat content and high carbs, because I love carbs. So I rather have fats low, carbs high, and protein high. So I am not scared of fats. So in fact, I will show you that I do have some fats. So the egg whites, and I do have 1 turkey sausage, which I do fry. Now you probably noticed that there is a lot more veg, and you'll notice throughout this video there's a lot more veg than I normally would have. I think the one thing that has changed massively is my vegetable consumption has gone up massively, especially during quarantine actually, because I've been cooking a lot more. I normally cook anyway, but I've been cooking a lot more because I'm always home. So I make a scrambled eggs where I just throw everything inside. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking there isn't much carbs in this, but remember, I had about 50 grams of carbs whilst I was training, and I also, that oat bar is about 30 grams of carbs as well. So I try and spread out my carbs, especially in the morning, and save the majority of it for nighttime, because that's when I'm more hungry and that's when I crave it a lot more. So that's another trick that I do. During the day, I don't crave carbs as much as I do during the nighttime. So yeah, this is pretty much what I would have as my first meal, first full meal. So for my next 2 meals, I normally would have the same thing, which is normally rice. I love rice. I can have rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I normally have 1 cup. I'm not sure what that is in terms of, I don't weigh, so I have no idea. Sometimes I have a bit more, depending on if I've trained twice that day. I have about 500 grams of chicken. Now with the chicken, I would cook the whole kilo of chicken and then I would keep the rest in the fridge. And then I would have, I'm currently just at the moment having some asparagus, some TENDERSTEM broccoli, and sometimes I might just use some mixed veg. So I would always, nowadays, I try and have 2 different types of vegetables when I make my meals. With the mixed veg, of course, I don't have to worry about that. I always buy that frozen, but sometimes I would just have, I'm loving asparagus at the moment with some TENDERSTEM broccoli. Cook it in a tablespoon of coconut oil. I forgot to mention this, I do have a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil in the mornings. I just drink that, I don't fry with it. And maybe once every 2 weeks, I don't eat a lot of beef. I would have some beef mince, some 5% beef mince, 500 grams, I'll have that for the whole day. I'll have that for the day. Sometimes I do buy the 750 gram beef mince, which I can eat for in 2 meals for the whole day, as well. So yeah, this is pretty much how standard, meal 2 and 3 would look. Again, sometimes, honestly, I might struggle to even have the 500 grams of chicken. So most of the days, this is what I have. Some days I am not hungry and I don't force feed myself anymore like I used to before. But this in general is pretty much a clear picture of how I eat. It's just like I said, the vegetables usually fluctuate, they differentiate every week. So it just depends on what I choose to have. But yeah, this gives you a clearer idea of what I generally have for meals 2 and 3. So I'll give you guys a tip. If you boil your rice, boil it in either chicken stock or vegetable stock. If you find rice boring, do that and it's a game changer. So it will make your rice taste a little bit more interesting. And of course, if you're vegetarian, boil it in vegetable stock, boil your rice in vegetable stock. It will make your rice taste a little bit more interesting. In terms of snacking, because a lot of people don't tend to talk about what they snack on, which is just as important, because a lot of the times we make up most of our calories from snacking. So I tend not to snack that much actually throughout the day, just because of the way I space out my meals. It means I don't necessarily need to snack, but some days I do. One of the things I always have is a Smart bar. Cookies and creams are my favorite. So Smart protein bar. Of course, with some tea, turmeric tea. Again, I told you, obsessed with tea. Some days I might have an oat biscuit, so I absolutely love these. I think these are in every single one of my food videos. I've been eating these for years. I have 1 pack of these. Just be careful, there's a lot of fat in these actually. And then once a week I would have popcorn and I watch my favorite anime or a movie. I actually forgot because I've run out. I normally have ice cream. I have this ice cream called JUDE'S. I love it. It's a low calorie salted caramel ice cream, and I have ice cream with popcorn. If you follow me on IG, you've seen me do that. A lot of people think it's disgusting, but I mix my ice cream with my popcorn in a bowl. Yeah, I'm weird. But fat, salt, sweet, all mixed together, it's like a winning combination. So yeah, that is pretty much what I have as a snack. But again, I probably do have a protein bar every day as a snack. Every single day I have one. But in terms of the biscuit and the popcorn, the biscuits could probably be maybe twice a week, and then popcorn's once a week. And it wouldn't be a what I eat video if I didn't show you my spices and condiments, my many different spices and condiments that I have. I always have these. So I always have a big box. And before I had 1, now I have 2. It's a mess, but I know what everything is. I always have different types of spices, everything from chipotle and lime to curry powder to chili. Chipotle chili flakes is one of my favorite things to put in every meal that I make. I love chipotle. And here, different spices as well, from turmeric, cumin, coriander, yeah, a lot of spices that you can think of. Paprika, I have. Garlic and ginger paste, different types of chili. This is hot, extra hot chili, but this is not extra hot chili. I have extra hot pepper sauce, which is from the Caribbean. West Indies hot pepper sauce. I do have hot sauce as well. Hot jerk chicken, barbecue jerk chicken, and I have sriracha. So depends on my mood. I love chili. I love my food to literally burn my mouth. And yeah, of course, garlic. So yeah, this is pretty much what I use to prepare my meals. My meals never taste the same. So Monday to Wednesday, I could cook with, let's say for example, I have oxtail seasoning, even though I don't make oxtail, but I still use this seasoning when I make my chicken. I actually even have a jollof rice seasoning here as well. So sometimes when I make my scrambled eggs, I actually use that. And then I can go from that to just using chipotle, for example. But I put chipotle flakes in, again, like I said, everything. I put garlic, I put ginger in absolutely everything. I find that having different spices and different herbs makes your cooking a lot more interesting. It just means that your food isn't boring. Because a lot of people I find get bored of eating clean because their meals are boring. Don't be scared of spices. I've never tracked spices. You don't need to do that. Yeah, don't be afraid of them. Spice up your life. Put some spice, put some herbs, in seasoning in your food. It doesn't have to be plain chicken and rice when you make your meals. Before I go to bed, there's usually a few things that I like to have before I go to bed, and that's a handful of grapes, 2 slices of toasted rye bread, and then you're going to laugh at me, I like to have 1 slice with a white blondie and 1 slice with a chocolate spread. I absolutely love these. These are peanut butter mixed with some whey protein. I drizzle some honey over the toast, and then I have a teaspoon of honey in my tea, which is normally lavender before bed, some lavender and some lemon and ginger. And I have a protein bar. I actually have half of the protein bar. I don't have a full protein bar. You're gonna laugh at me, but that's just something I do. I don't know why I have half. There's no specific reason. It's just what I do. And that is pretty much what I have before I go to bed. At least an hour and a half or 2 hours before I go to bed. I try now not to have a full stomach before I go to bed. I mean, I did that before and that's a bad idea. So there's no scientific reason why. It's just something I like to do, and that's something I've always done, and I've just stuck with that tradition. So yeah, that's pretty much what I like to have before bed. Okay, one thing I thought I'll add is every now and then, especially when I do 2 sessions a day, I find that I'm waking up around 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I'm absolutely ravenous. So what I do is I have a bowl of cereal, about this much. I don't know how much this weighs, and with some oat milk. And this is something I use because, again, I don't want to eat something too heavy, something light and quick to go back to sleep. So usually I would have cereal. This is something actually relatively new I've started doing start of this year. I used to not have any cereal whatsoever. I don't drink oats. As you can see, I don't drink oats. I never have. I find oats disgusting. But when I wake up, sometimes 3-4 o'clock in the morning, I'm starving, I can't go to sleep, I have a bowl of cereal. So that's the video. That's pretty much my diet. That's how I eat. I'm not sure how helpful it will be because it is very similar to the way I've eaten before. Again, because I don't count macros, I know that might not be as helpful to some of you, but it's just, again, this is reality. This is me being honest with you and how exactly I eat. There is no, I don't have numbers. I can't tell you. I wouldn't even be able to. I mean, I could weigh everything and measure, but because I didn't have a good relationship with food when I was measuring, I psychologically don't want to do that because then I might go back into that mindset of, I might be eating too much or I might not be eating enough. And then my life starts to be dictated by weighing my food. And I don't want my life to be dictated by food. However, if you are starting out, if you have a goal, if you have something you want to achieve and you don't know how to calculate macros, you don't know what your macros are, you don't know what your calories are, try and find out. Try and weigh your food, try and measure everything. The first few weeks, the first few months, it's absolutely fine to weigh your food, to measure your food, to calculate, to know what you are putting into your body. You will have to do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but I've done that for years, so I have experience. So if you don't have the experience, absolutely you should be weighing your food and knowing exactly if you're eating towards your goal. If you're trying to bulk, obviously be in a surplus. If you're trying to get leaner, be in a deficit. So, and if you just want to maintain as well, you need to know what your maintenance calories are. That's absolutely fine. What works for me will not necessarily work for most of you. And remember this, we're all different, we're all unique. My body adapts differently to how your body does. So bear that in mind. But hopefully this gives you an insight into, my daily diet and how I eat. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I am going to stop waffling on now. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. That would be awesome. Peace out.